ladies and gentlemen, watchers from around the world, and of course, the live audience here at the Poduty Theater in Pittsburgh, or just outside Pittsburgh. Welcome to the Global Podcasting Meetup, featuring the Phil Better, the podcast mogul. But really, right now, we are going to the man of the hour himself, Jeff.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Global Podcast Meetup. I'm Jeff. What an introduction. Thank you, Phil, for getting that set up tonight. We're going to see Phil in about 20 minutes. This is our third Global Podcast Meetup. We also do the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup coming up April 19th, Easter weekend. If you're in between Good Friday and celebrating Easter, Saturday, I don't know if you're doing anything, we have pizza and drinks, and we talk podcasts, and we get about 20 people in the room. We share tips. We find out where you're hung up at, and we try to get you over those hurdles that are keeping you from live podcasting or recording a show in your home studio. We do all of that at the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup. Tickets at Poduty.com, just like you got here tonight to go to the Global Podcast Meetup. So one of the things I wanted to do tonight is a show I've been working on. It's a live show, and it's a news show. So I'm trying to combine doing a live podcast with a live news show. Before I get into that, I got a clicker here. The show is called Poduty in the News. That's me. I wanted to do Poduty Lewis after Huey Lewis. Poduty Lewis in the news, but people kind of frowned on doing that. Like, hey, you're kind of close on some copyright there. So the show is Poduty and the News. This is going to be the first episode. Is anybody ready? Does anybody think I could do this? We're going to have Phil's going to join me on stage and add some commentary to some of my stories. So the basis, before I get into the show, I even have a theme song for it, is I want to give you information on things that are happening right now in live podcasting. This is an area that's growing leaps and bounds. Even from when I started researching for the show to just last week, it's gone from hardly ever finding people doing live shows to I have 10 and 12 live shows with news stories coming in each week. So people are starting to do this as a form of entertainment. And I want to take that information, show you what people are doing around the world, and let's build on that in the Pittsburgh area, make Pittsburgh kind of like the Hollywood of podcasting. So, without further ado, let's hear that Poduty in the News theme song.
Step right up, it's the sound of the hour. Poduty's here with the podcast power, breaking the news with a dash of flair. Live on the stage, we're taking you there. Oh, Poduty, yeah, that's the groove. Bringing you stories that make you move. Lights flash bright with the crowd and view. It's Poduty in the News for you.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Poduty in the News. This is the first episode of a live podcast recorded live in front of a live audience. It's all the live podcasting news you need, things that have happened in the past week. I'm going to share those things with you. But of course, we're at a podcast theater right now, perhaps the first in the world. We haven't verified that by Guinness or anything like that. I'm just kind of saying it out loud till somebody challenges me. But I believe this is the first podcast theater in the world, a space dedicated to podcasting the way comedy clubs are dedicated to comedians, the way rock venues, music venues are designated to musicians. This is a space that's built for live podcasting. And the goal, and I hope the people in the audience, you really feel the same feeling you get when you listen to a podcast, maybe in your morning commute or on a workout. It should feel almost that one-on-one experience where you kind of get pulled into the stage. You're kind of immersed. And that's the whole room is surrounded by only 3 rows of chairs. So you're always close, you're always up front, you're always in the show. And we're going to bring up our special guest on our episode 1. But I wouldn't be fair if I didn't tell you about, we had some upcoming events. A great show next week, the Crips and Corks podcast. You've probably heard me call them boozy ghosts before. They tell ghost stories. They pair those with a wine. So there'll be a nice beverage and podcast for you next week. A great show to watch. We have the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup. We get together, about 20 Pittsburgh podcasters show up, and we talk podcasting. We talk everything between things that you're having challenges with, audio problems, recording, all these things that you need help with. We all work together, all 20 of us, to figure out problems or solutions to your problems. Then I'm bringing in a magic show. I'm pretty excited about this, all the way from New York. We have a magician coming in for 4 shows. We already sold out 1 show. It's the first show we've ever sold out. Oh, yeah, look at that. I got a clicker. We got Paul Antonio Magic, April 26th. There's actually 4 shows now. We just added a 4th show because we sold out 1. We have the Tarentum Night Market. This is a challenge to Pittsburgh podcasters. Every second Thursday, starting in May all the way through November, they do what's called a night market in Tarentum. Now, they used to close off the street that I'm on, and there was vendors and food vendors and artists and crafters, but they're moving that down to the river. So it's going to be 2 blocks away from here now. It's not the ideal, but we're going to have a whole night of open stage live podcasting. I'm looking for 6 podcasts in the Pittsburgh area who want to, every 30 minutes, we're going to flip out and put a new podcaster on stage and just have this open stage, super fun time, really showcasing the talent of Pittsburgh podcasters, of the people who are in the Tarentum area. Free tickets, come down, hang out. You want to leave and go get they have some good barbecue or Korean tacos, go down to the river and get some snacks. Now they have the power of the clicker. And all these dates and deets at Poduty.com, Poduty.com. It's how you got to this event tonight. It's how you can get the future events coming up at Poduty.com. And my new promotion, I'm really not doing anything different, but changing the way that I'm telling you how I'm doing it. We'll pay you up to $500 to produce one of your episodes on our stage. Now, people are like, $500? And my wife freaked out. She's like, we're going to get $500. And this is based on performance. So there's no rental fees if you want to come here and use the stage. There's no hidden costs. There's no minimum ticket requirements. The way that the business model works here, you come in, we build a landing page, we help you sell tickets, and we produce the event for you. We give you back the recording. We don't take any ownership over your content. At the end of the night, we sit down and we split the door 50-50. You're not on the hook for anything. You don't have to sell a certain amount of tickets. You come in, you sell $1,000 worth of tickets, we'll get you $500 right then and there. I'll Zelle you right on the phone. I know I'm old. I don't do Venmo, but we got to keep it, somewhat, transactional with the banks. Like to, make sure you keep good records.
Keep it legal.
Keeping it legal. The voice of God. So this is a new promotion. It's getting a lot of attention. I've been getting a lot of people reaching out. This is a very lucrative offer. Instead of having to go to a podcast studio, renting space, or buying your own equipment, maybe once a month you try out a live show. There's no risk, no minimum, and we will get you, some money for doing this. I've done speeches before on how lucrative live podcasting can be. If you want to go back and watch some of those, I'm very passionate on the power of live podcasting and how just small audiences can equal thousands of digital downloads. You can really have a big impact locally. Because we have a special guest coming up next, it's already 6:42. I got to get off the stage by 7. We got about 5 news stories to cover tonight. And joining us headlining tonight, all the way from Canada, he flew in just to be here to tell us 3 ways to make money podcasting. Phil Better. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm also the voice of God, if you know. Thank you very much. Thank you. I had a lovely flight. My arms are exhausted. No, I'm sorry. That was horrible.
It was quite a journey. He left Thursday a.m. and landed in Pittsburgh at 5 p.m.
Friday.
Like
I said, my arms are exhausted.
So he had to fly from Montreal to Toronto, Toronto to Tampa, Tampa to Pittsburgh. It seems like there's a more efficient way to get here, but that's the way they took you.
Yeah, it's also the most cheapest way of flying here, too. The most cost-effective, sorry, not cheap, cost-effective way of getting here, other than driving, which is the next time.
So on the Poduty and the news, it's generally going to be me telling you news stories in a live environment in front of a live audience. But because Phil's in town, we have a special guest. Or if anybody'd like to join us and be commentary, you're welcome to come up on stage. So what I'm going to do is tell you some stories that are happening in the world of just podcasting, live shows. And we're going to just riff on them real quick and go on to the next story. Pretty easy. So just recently posted, halfway into the 2020s, podcasting isn't slowing down. In fact, the industry continues to gain momentum. The latest edition of Edison Research's Infinite Dial report found that podcasts have reached an unprecedented level of saturation in the United States, where more than half of consumers above the age of 11 have watched at least one video podcast. And Infinite Dial is the longest running annual report covering digital media trends in the United States. To glean insights about the habits of the American consumption, Edison Research 5,020 people split into brackets 12 to 34, 35 to 54, and 55 and up. And the results of the data gathering effort showed that several digital formats are reaching consumers more than ever before. 79% of respondents listen to online audio on a monthly basis. So this isn't a fad at this point. Like, this has reached market saturation. 34% of those listen to Spotify the most, compared to 21% for YouTube Music. And well, you've been podcasting for a while. Does any of this surprise you?
Not at all. With COVID spiking with 1 million podcasts being released in that 1 year, and obviously the podcasts being created have dropped, but the listenership has been doubling and doubling. I believe there's like 500 million podcast listeners.
I don't think 500 million.
500 million worldwide.
500 million would be more than the United States. I think it was 5 million podcasts.
No. There's 4 million. Listen, you're talking to the mogul here.
I'm talking in the directory. Maybe
There's
episodes.
4 million podcasts out with 500 million listeners. You missed the listeners.
Fair.
Okay, jeez. But yeah, no, this is something that I'm super happy. I've been passionate about podcasting for over a decade now. And the fact that everybody listens to podcasts now. It's talk radio of the future. It's Gen Z, Gen Alpha's version of AM, FM radios. And it's only going to grow more and more.
Yeah, and especially with YouTube entering the market, Spotify video entering the market, and taking more and more of that attention to the video stream, whether or not we can get into a whole debate of what is a podcast, but video is becoming more and more of what podcasting is, the definition of a podcast. We have people watching live online right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. But what is a podcast? It is all over the place. The definition keeps growing, and we're seeing more and more live event podcasts. Like one just happened with Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery. The Video Archives, they brought the podcast to the stage. And in the lively event, Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery brought their popular podcast, The Video Archives, to the stage. The live taping was filled with energy and featured a surprise screening of a classic film, No Way Out. Fans were treated to an engaging discussion that highlighted the duo's insights into the film industry and their personal experiences in the industry. The event showcased Tarantino and Avery's chemistry and passion for cinema, making it a memorable experience for attendees. That's something I want to focus on in our discussion. Overall, the live podcast taping was a celebration of film culture marked by humor and nostalgia. But that point of making it a memorable experience for attendees, that's something that you get with a live podcast that you don't get by releasing an episode on a Monday and coming back 7 days later and looking at your download numbers for a week. All you know is X number of people have accessed the file. But when it's live and when you start to bring in a public audience to watch what you're doing, there's real-time feedback. I can tell right now if this show is going to work based on this format, doing it the first time live. I'm seeing the facial reactions. Are you interested? Those types of things, and that kind of feedback immediately helps me direct and determine the direction of the show. Like, where should I go if everybody's looking at their phones, looking up at the sky, like, oh, there's a door. There might be a drip, so they're over here. The roof is leaking a little bit.
The first two seats here, we're going to suggest you stay away from, but you can always look at the nice roof. Got some nice doors up here.
So that extra element, which you don't get just listening to a podcast on your morning commute or in your earbuds while you're working out, you get something extra when you come to a live event podcast. And Bill, what do you want to add to that? I said too much.
You said a lot there, and I have to agree. Like, you have Quentin Tarantino, who is a huge name doing these live events. If you got celebrities doing live events for their podcast, you know you're going to be making it's smart as a small podcaster to a medium podcaster that you should be going to locations where you can do live podcast recording, because it's going to make the listeners feel FOMO, and they're going to want to come to the next one and the next one and the next one, because they're going to have that opportunity to meet the mini celebrity that is the host. Because you have to remember, when you're a podcast host, you're a celebrity now. You're an influencer because people are listening to you. You are able to influence. And there was a stat I read that 80% of listeners trust the podcast host. That's insane. So if you're a podcast host, you say something, your audience is going to engage with you. They're going to listen to you. They're going to respect you. So when you have that live episode, you're going to increase so much dramatically the respect you have for your podcast, and people are going to talk about it.
Trust me.
Are we going to the next slide?
Yeah, because on this next story, I'm going to file under things we've been talking about.
It's true.
So, this is from the Fireside blog, and they said, should you be making an audio or video podcast or both? In today's digital landscape, the choice between audio and video podcasts is becoming increasingly significant for creators. According to Kirk McElhern, article on Fireside blog, audio podcasts are easy to produce, distribute, and consume. They require minimal equipment and allow listeners to engage while multitasking, whether at home, commuting, or working out. That's the same checklist I've been giving you. The production process is straightforward with smaller files that facilitate quick uploads. But on the other hand, video podcasts are gaining traction, with a notable percentage of listeners preferring platforms like YouTube. However, they demand more complex production, including quality lighting and sound, as well as careful editing to maintain viewer engagement. While video can enhance the experience by providing visual context, it is less convenient for listeners who may not be able to watch at all times. So creators might consider producing both formats. This dual approach can maximize reach and engagement, as video content tends to perform well in search engines, while audio can be distributed across traditional platforms. However, last point, podcasters should weigh the time and effort required for video production against the potential benefits.
Very true. My take on this, if you're a solo podcaster, stick to audio, because most people won't watch you because looking at one person is kind of boring. But if doing interviews, if you have a co-host, make it video, because it adds a level of interactivity to it. Because if you have a platform like YouTube, which allows comments that Spotify is only rolling out now and Apple doesn't even have, it gives you that more activity in your podcast. So do video if you can, but keep it simple, silly.
Yeah, if video is in your horizon at some point, I usually say start with video. You can always just get the audio from video, and you're going to do it more than one time. You're going to do it 5 times, 10 times. And each time you do it, it's going to get a little bit better until your 20th time and your 50th time. When you look back I'm going to look back at this first episode and be like, okay, that's what I was doing wrong. These are things I'm going to work on to improve for episode 2. And by the time I get to episode 10, I won't just be sitting here reading da-da-da-da-da-da.
No, he's going to have a teleprompter doing it all for him.
I'll have different ways of giving you the news. Yeah. So I'll figure this out. This is episode 1. It's a little bit rough. I did make really nice slides. I was pretty proud of.
Beautiful.
We'll keep going. We'll keep going on to the next story. Filed under congratulations. Transistor is now hosting over 30,000 podcasts. It's a very simple platform, simplifies the podcasting process, allowing users to record audio and upload it, while also assisting with submissions to major platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Sometimes these summaries read like an ad, but this is not an ad. It's a host that I've been keeping an eye on. I switched to in December, and I was just excited. They had a little bit of a growth. They were celebrating 30,000 podcasts.
That's great. It's taking market share from the bigger guys. It's
0.01%. Yeah.
Hey, it's still market share. Okay, and it's great, and it's allowing smaller people to come in, smaller podcasts to test it out. When you have these smaller hosting platforms that come in, it just allows you more opportunity for us to grow as an industry.
And we're going to file. Wait, what? Oh, I don't have a slide for this one. But I'm going to tell you, because I'm really interested in this feature. I'm not a big Spotify guy. You've probably heard me talk on the stage before about Spotify. But this is going to be filed under, this could also work for podcasts. In the recent announcement on March 20th, Spotify introduced Concerts Near You. I don't know if you've seen this in your Spotify app, but when you're in there now, the playlist designed to help users discover upcoming concerts and their favorite artists in their local area. This playlist is personalized based on listening habits and updated weekly with 30 songs from artists performing nearby. I think it also links to ticket sales. So I'm going to get into my point of where I think this can go. Users can access full event details and ticket links directly through the playlist, making it easier to plan concert outings with friends. To stay updated, users are encouraged to ensure their location is currently, there we go. You're trading something for something. Make sure your location is currently in the Spotify's app live events section and enable push notifications for the artist updates. Now, I think this is for me, for things that have all the things that Spotify has done, I really think this is something that goes beyond just music acts. This is something that, like, I filed this under the category of this could also work for a podcast. I do believe in the future, as more and more people, we read 2 articles that were live event podcasts. Those are things that are happening in areas near you. Spotify also wants you to listen to podcasts on their app. So if there are music acts in your town and you listen to music, hey, here's who's coming to your town. If you listen to this podcast and they're going to be on tour and passing through, that's also something that this could easily grow into.
Yeah.
I really like maybe where the future of this could go as we get more live podcasts to the stage.
I like it because it will allow you as an audience to come to the events. Like you're let's say you're listening to Poduty in the news and you don't know that they do a live show every month or something like that, but you're listening to it and it tells you, hey, Poduty in the news is coming live. You got the podcast mogul coming live. You know, you got emerging leadership coming live. I'm looking at you, Tamara. You're going to have that podcast, you know, and you're going to find out, hey, your audience can come. There's ticket sales. It can help you with monetizing your podcast. All I see is growth for both the music industry and especially the budding podcasting industry using this. I'm so excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, the apps aren't typically great at that recommendation engine of like, oh, you listen to this person, but this person's also on this show, and this show. There's places that have tried to do that, but it's a very manual process of kind of assigning yourself to different shows. But with this, if they know that act and that artist is touring and they can match that with an RSS feed or your album that you're listening to, I think that's very powerful. And it's a way to grow a smaller local community by that reference engine of Spotify saying, hey, that podcast you've spent 7.8 hours last month listening to, because we know how much you listen to, they're going to be within 30 miles of you in December. So if that can grow, if this type of service gets roots, then that's something I'm actually going to give it. I don't have a ratings system yet, but I'm going to give it 5 Podutys. Can I do that? Can I do the 5 Podutys?
Yeah, we'll go with it. 5 Podutys.
Yeah, with an asterisk. It's not assigned yet. It's only if Spotify can release that. Yeah. So this was episode 1. If you want to go prep, we're going to
I'm going to go be a producer for a second.
He's going to be the producer. Thank you, Phil, for joining us on episode 1 of Poduty in the News. Phil's going to take the stage all by himself. Okay. We're going to take a little bit of a break, come back a little bit after 7 p.m. We're going to clear the stage. He's going to do a pacing like Gary Vee style, he said. So we're going to clear off all the furniture, and we will be back in, like Chuck Woolery would say, 2 and 2.
Step right up, it's the sound of the hour. Poduty's here with the podcast power. Breaking the news with a dash of flair. Live on the stage, we're taking you there. Oh, Poduty, yeah, that's the groove. Bringing you stories that make you move. Lights flash bright with the crowd and view. It's Poduty and the news for you. Of the hour, Poduty's here with the podcast power. Breaking the news with a dash of flair. Live on the stage, we're taking you there. Oh, Poduty, yeah, that's the groove. Bringing you stories that make you move. Lights flash bright with the crowd in view. It's Poduty and the news for you. It's Poduty and the news for you. Stories that make you move. Lights flash brightly in the news for you. It's Poduty and the news.